Hello and good morning. I'm so sorry for the delay. There were some connectivity issues, but how's everybody doing? Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Well, good morning from us and good evening everywhere else, I guess. I suppose we will go ahead and get started. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Let's see how we can go ahead and get started here with Loyola Notes Schools workshop. So, all right, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead with sharing my screen. If we go along here. So, all right. Let's see. Start. All right, so you guys should be seeing my screen from here.
Yes.
There you go. Good, all good on everybody's end, perfect. So, all right, we'll go ahead and get started over here. So, all right, as I mentioned, hello again once again. My name is Yami Roca. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time today and tuning into today's webinar. I will go ahead with introducing us here a bit at Loyola Notes School. And really, we'll be going over how a classroom can be different and what is enhanced compared to a traditional classroom when we compare it to really any sort of environment when we're using a tablet or any device with Loyola Notes School. And to do that, we will touch on who we are, and then we'll get everybody logged into our app for some fun activities before we wrap up some more details about us and get into final reflection, followed by a Q&A. So to get started, I'm gonna just, you see this overall kind of basic gist of today's work. And then we'll get into some things about us. Really, who are we at Loyola Note? So we at Loyola Note love to provide student-centered classes around the world so that both students and teachers can feel the joy of learning. And really, this bears the question to those of you that might not already know, what is Loyola Note? And, you know, I have seen some familiar faces already that have an idea about us, but basically, Loyola Note is the all-in-one interactive lesson platform specially designed for student-centered learning. And additionally, Loyola Note School serves a major role in reducing teachers' workload and developing students' logical thinking skills. Loyola Note is a cloud app that is compatible with all operating systems and can be used for all grades and subjects. So with Loyola Note, student-teacher interactions are made simple and students can regularly become more immersed in their daily lessons. And how we do this is with two unique key features, involving simplifying those student-teacher interactions and making lessons immersive. So in terms of what really sets us apart, touch-based interface allows operation while standing or walking. Not to mention, you can instantly turn your thoughts into data with unlimited cloud storage and web filtering services. As you can see that we've all incorporated into a variety of schools across Japan and over the world, which we'll get into here in a bit. But now that we've given you a bit of an introduction, let's get everyone set up so you can try Loyola Note School for yourselves. For those of you that RSVP'd for this event, you should have received an email from me with account information for login, and my support team will be checking in to make sure that the majority of us, if not all, are on the same page. And let's see. For those of you that haven't downloaded the Loyola Note School app on your preferred touchscreen device, we highly recommend that you do so now with either of these links that will be sent to you in the chat, or just look us up in your app store with, you know, this logo over here. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity. I'm going to check in right here to see how many of us, let's see, did you guys receive an email with your own individual login information? Feel free to like react if you did, whether on YouTube Live, send a comment or a chat over, same on Zoom. Feel free to leave a reaction if you got something. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Did everyone get a login? Is somebody missing anything? Let's see. All right. 1 second. No. Okay. Let's see. For most of you, like I said, you should have received an email prior, like right before this workshop started, with your own individual login information. So let's see, one by one. Oh, there we go. Haha. Good. Perfect. So you have your own 07. Thank you so much, Malik, for responding. Good. Okay. Let's see. So Malik has one. Let's see. Wycliffe, is that right? Just checking that. Are you? You can feel free to just react. Do you have your own sign in? You good to go? Let's see. Okay. And all right. I think we are moving along. Let's see. Okay. And just to check. All right. Mika and Udiu, I believe you guys might have also received an email with some sign-in information. Is that correct?
I think I haven't got
An email? It should have just come right before this.
Yeah, let me check first.
Sure thing.
From you.
Yes. From Loyola, our global email. You should have received an email with individual sign-in information.
I don't know why, but I think I haven't got it. But for me or for our staff, we have our own account, so no problem.
Yep, no, that's fine. Just making sure that maybe that email was sent off. So I sent it to myself and that was sent off. It seems Malik got it. Okay, so I guess we will proceed. So going off of the assumption that everyone has logged in, we can now, I will zoom out of here, or not logged in, that you received that information. Now, for those of you that, let's say, haven't downloaded the app and just want to access Loyola Note via your browser, you can do so using this link. One of our staff, Yufi, thank you so much, has put in that link in the chat box below. Should also be on YouTube Live as well. So, or anywhere else. So, but basically, as you can see here, it's essentially loyolanote.app. And that's where we will be able to continue with our login. So now, if we are all on the same page, we'll just take a few moments just to ensure that we are. And likewise, if you did not receive any login information, feel free to just type in the chat or make a comment and my support team will get you that information. But really, as I'm speaking, each of you should have already received your user ID for today. And for those of you that do have that information, we'll start with the basics. So really, when you're on the sign-in page of Loyola Note, which should look like this, the first thing that you'll click is sign in with Loyola Note, as you can see here. So from here, everyone will have the same school ID and the same password, but be sure to input your specific user ID so we don't have multiple people accessing the same account. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. Let us know if you need any help. And then we'll see about making sure that everyone is logged in at the same time. So let's see, we are here. Yep. All right. And feel free to give us a reaction or anything along the lines to just let us know once you're all logged in. And then we can go ahead and keep on for our fun activities for today. So thank you so much, Darshan. Malik, let us know if you're having an easy time with login. Let's see. Okay, good. Thank you. Good to hear. You're in. All right. So yeah, and I'm not seeing that anybody's having any sort of issue, so we will go ahead and move forward. So once we have you logged in, let's see, our very next part is that you can see here. In your sidebar, you'll see a subject called EdTechTeacher Webinar with a folder called Workshop. You can go ahead and click that. And then once you click that, you can create a new note. So to create a new note, the title will default to today's date. So you can just leave that and click OK or use, depending on your software. But once you just click that OK, you'll see a blank area, and this will be your workspace for today. So is everyone here? Let me double check the chat to make you guys are all good. And let's see. Let's see here. All right. Everyone on this blank workspace looking good? No problems? Yep. Good. Thank you so much. Excellent. Okay. So with that, as we're all catching up, like I mentioned before, if you find yourself getting lost and our support team isn't able to get the chance to reach you at that time, just feel free to play around with our features to get more comfortable with them, and just rewatch this webinar as it's being recorded for your reference. But for now, we should be able to start our mini workshop. And before we get into our activities, I'll explain some of what we are seeing here in this little blank workspace area. So I'm going to zoom in on this workspace and go one by one. So from the very top icon, the very first thing that comes up is the camera. So as you can see, we have the camera right here. Depending on your browser, obviously, or what you're using, you may need to grant permissions and things like that. So you can, at this moment, if you have the chance, grant the permission for your mic and your camera. And once you do, obviously, you'll see the option of, your camera to take, and you can also take a video as well. Granted, since I'm sharing my screen, it's not going to allow me to take a video at the moment, but this, you can switch around your camera. You can zoom in or out and go back and forth. And once, let's say, for example, if you were to take this and I were to use that, immediately it shows up as a file on your screen. And this is something that we refer to as cards. So cards are, and really any file that shows up on your workspace is referred to as a card. And this is something that we can adjust the margins. We can, well, depending on the picture, we can crop it, go by here and there, and so on and so forth. So the camera icon is quite straightforward. You take a picture, you use it, or to take a video, same thing, and you can retake it as much as you want. And all of that is stored in our unlimited cloud storage and automatically saved, so you don't have to worry about that kind of usage. Next on the sidebar is text. So these are text cards. And as you can see, we have a variety of colors and things like that and things along those lines. So let's say I'm going to choose a pink card and I'm going to hold it. And you know what? I want to make it a bit smaller. And once I click into it, this is where we get the opportunity to add in text. So for my text, let's say I want to type something on the offset. So hello. As you can see, I've typed that in, and let's say I want to adjust the alignment. I want to make it bold. I want to make it bigger. I even want to change the color of it. So there's a lot of different options here. And we also have this pencil icon where, let's say if I didn't feel like typing something in, I could go right along the lines of drawing something in. So, and this is kind of why we recommended today that you might have a handheld or touchscreen sort of device, because let's say if you have a stylus or even with your finger, it's a lot more fun to just write things in. And I personally enjoy it more myself. But as you can see, we also have a highlighter. You can adjust the pen thickness. You can use an eraser to erase individually, or if you wanted to clear all, that gets rid of all of that immediately. We even have a ruler to make straight lines, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of capability here. And even let's say I wanted to change the color of that card, can do so without a problem. So these are our text cards. Next, we get into our web cards. And so with web cards, it provides easy access into, I'm pretty sure you guessed it, the internet. So at this point, you can click on that magnifying glass icon. And let's say if you wanted to type in, find in something from Google or YouTube or things along those lines, you and your students would be able to do so and have easy access within the app. But just the same, everything is within permissions. So these permissions are all based on your, as a teacher, your role. Let's say if you wanted to restrict your class from accessing certain parts of YouTube or certain parts of Google or things like that, or block off entire sites, you know, for your particular classrooms, you would be able to do that. And so despite the easy access all within the app, it's not something that your students will run out of control with. And so they can still have fun, but within, you know, safe parameters. But for now, let's say I wanted to use this one, current global weather patterns right here. And I like the way that this looks. And so this camera icon at the top, I'm just going to click that. And then I'm going to select done. And so there you, as you see, we have a card that gives you that preview. But then if I double click it, and there you go, the website opens automatically. So as you can see, I'm on the actual website itself, and that is because I was on the card and I just touched the card and it brought me to it. So we will back up from here, and then easily, let's say I clicked the camera icon twice for whenever there was one part of the globe looking one way and then a different part of the globe looking a different way. And look, that's an easy way to make a presentation. These right arrows at the top of our cards connect to one another, and it's an easy way for us to make presentations. So next on the line, we have map cards, which essentially follow the same line of, you know, being access to kind of like a web card, but except with coordinates. So if you wanted to look up a specific sort of address and kind of have that map link that will lead you to one place or the other, there's access into that. So quite similar functions in that regard. But then we'll get into our files. So file cards, this is an easy way to import photos or videos or PDFs. These are the forms in which are compatible with Loyola Notes School. So let's say here, I'm going to download some PDFs, and this is quite the big PDF. And so, but that, despite being a pretty massive PDF, it was all done very quickly. And as you can see, each page becomes its own card, and the slides connect like so. A different form, let's say if you had individual worksheets that you wanted to send for your particular classroom, you can also do that as well. Standalone is totally fine. And then, as you can see, very easy to just write in whatever it is that you are so inclined, or explain your assignment as you see fit. From here, we will clear up the space a little bit and move out. We have our thinking tools. So most of these will probably look relatively familiar. I imagine, you know, these are a modern approach to the traditional graphic organizers that we've all used since we were much younger, you know, Venn diagrams, X graphs, pyramid schemes, X axes, and all these lines. And if there's ever ones that you don't know how to use, you can always click on Learn about thinking tools, and we have examples made by teachers on how they incorporate each of these thinking tools into their classrooms. But let's see, for now, I'm going to use this Venn diagram, and let's say if I want to make it kind of nice, I want to add some cards to it. So I will drag this and drop it into the thinking tool, as you can see here, and make some different, let's say if I wanted to make some different headers, like I said, it's just a matter of holding that and then adjusting the margins. I can make it pretty. I can make it however I want. Let's say even I want something that's clear. I can add that in here and just type in anything. And like I said, since that's quite small, I can make it bigger and so on and so forth. But this is a very easy way for students to have all sorts of different, interactions with one another. They can work on this as a group or as individuals, and they can even incorporate the use of different thinking tools and compare them side by side with the same information and duplicate these cards with ease. And finally, in terms of the sidebar, we have our test cards, which give you the option of tests, questionnaires, or even attendance sheet. So all very straightforward functions, but let's see, I will show you a bit of an example with this one. This is an example of what a test card looks like, where you can, let's see, if we were to edit it, it will give you this title. You have the option of auto scoring on or off. Your results can either be shown to yourself and other teachers, just to yourself, shown to everyone, students and teachers. Same thing when it comes to the respondents. You have multiple options of how you'd like to customize it. And this is where you can start getting creative with your input and allow for different types of whether single answer, multiple choice, as you can see, and then write in free answers or even questions only. And the way that this can be previewed is this is essentially what it will look like whenever you send it off. And then the results, as students start to fill this in, these become real-time summaries of, as people are answering, the columns will start to move automatically, which will show closer to the end of this presentation today. But with all these in mind, we get into these final elements, which are our materials folder. You have something that you can use personally, school-wide shared, teachers only, which are all straightforward of if you wanted to share materials with administrators or to teachers only and share digital lesson plans, you can do so within these folders or even keep materials for yourself. The submit button is where we will have our submission boxes, and we will get into that in just a little bit. And finally, we have our sending button, which gives you a timeline of things that have been sent off or that you might have received or that students receive in your class, so on and so forth. So there's a lot that can be done here. And even with the submission, like with sending things off, you are able to, I will give an example here, as if I'm sending this to the whole class, all the members in, or specific members, or even to your own private notes for your materials as a reference point. But all this has been a lot of explanation, so let's get into some fun activities. So the very first thing that I'm going to have you do is we are going to make a photo introduction card. So like I mentioned before, if you haven't done so already, please provide Loyola Note with permissions for your camera and microphone. And what I'm going to want you to do is, let's see, I will do it from the beginning so that you see it step by step. Let's all click on the camera icon on our top left. And once you do that, as you can see, it will open up here and we're going to take a quick selfie. So say cheese. And let's say if you're satisfied with that picture, you can feel free to use it. If you want to retake it, feel free to retake it as much as you want. But let's see, for now, I'm going to use this picture. And I want to make it a bit smaller. So I'm going to adjust these margins and go here. But once you take that picture, what you're going to do is click on that picture and tap. You see that text that we have up here, this A icon that we have up here. I want you to tap on that and type in your name. And you can feel free to adjust that. I'm going to make it bigger, bold, and let's see, I want to change the color. I'm going to put it right up here. And from here, really, I want you to get creative with it. So you can tap on your pencil icon and, you know, start putting in some lines, putting in your own unique drawings, just to get comfortable with the function. So like I said, you can do this with a stylus, with your finger, with your cursor, if you're on the browser. But really, I want you to take some time to just do this. So I will give you a few minutes to really, like I said, take that picture, type in your name, and then put some fun drawings on it. And I will check back with you in a few minutes. And like I said before, please mention if you're having any sort of issue, and myself and my support team are here to help. But really, obviously, the point of this is to just have fun. All right, so let's see. All right, so now we should be able to get back to work. But as you can see, perhaps on your students' accounts, your screens should now be locked. And that's obviously something that I did on purpose. So if you see it on my teacher screen, what we have here are basically lock tunnels and lock screens and permissions. And this is how one way that you can retake control of a classroom is just by locking that screen. And then the second that I unlock this, you should be able to get back to it. But for now, if you are just finalizing your drawings and your play with the features, what I'm going to have you do next is fill in a specific type of card. So what I'm going to show you here is a introduction card. So we'll drag this in to make it seem a bit more organized. And so I'm going to send this card to you first and foremost, and I'm just going to go ahead and send that to everyone. There. So now that it's been sent to the whole class, you should be receiving that pretty automatically to your own workspace. Maybe if there's any lag, that might be connectivity aside. But, you know, if you have, let's see, if you can just go ahead and give me some sort of reaction or something. Did you receive the card? All good on everybody's end? Everybody got the introduction card? Just to make sure that we're good to move forward. Yes. Yep. Okay. Then, okay. I will go ahead and assume that most. Yep, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah. Then I will assume that you all got the card. And so once you have on your own workspace, I want you to drag that picture that you took. And like I said, first, if you want to make it smaller, all you have to do is kind of press on it for an extra second. And you see these dots, you can make it smaller, bigger to make it more appropriate whenever it fits into the introduction card. Because then I'm going to want you to take it, drag it, and drop it into this card right here. And then click on this card just to make it bigger. And from here, let's say, yeah, I still want to make it bigger. So I will adjust the margins accordingly, make it a bit bigger. Here we go. And all right, there, that works for me. And so, as you can see, now we've dragged this card into our introduction. We have our picture and our photo, but something that I want you guys to do will be to kind of fill in the blank of this prompt. So our prompt for today is just my favorite food is. And what that is, how you can answer that, you can do either a video recording or an audio recording. And let's see, how I want you to do that will be, we already established with this plus sign over here. You'll be able to see that camera icon, and you can take a video of yourself. If you just, you know, swipe off of the camera photo function, just get onto the video and take a brief recording giving that answer. That would be great. Or you can give a audio recording answer. And so how you would do this will be this microphone up to the right of your A icon. And so from here, it is automatically set to just as long as you will record when you click pause, or that's essentially when the recording ends. Otherwise, you could always pre-establish it to, let's say, it lasts 10 seconds, 35 seconds, all the way up to 600 seconds. But let's say leaving it on auto is just the most natural thing. And so from that point on, this is where you will record. Once again, I'm currently sharing the screen, and so it would be a little bit difficult and there would be an error there. But let's say on your end, you should be able to just click record, especially if you've already granted those microphone permissions. Give that brief audio recording, and when you do, it will show up as part of the card. So you don't need to put that recording anywhere or drag it around. It's just already part of the card. And at the bottom of the card, you will see a bunch of squiggly lines, which is essentially how your voice, like, you know, the sound waves of them. And so, yeah. So once you do this, it will show up as an automatic part of the card, and you don't have to worry about it. And let's see, I just realized that we got a question in the comments. Let's say if I deleted something, how to back. Well, Malik, the thing is so whenever you go to delete something, it usually will give you kind of a kind of confirmation message of like, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to delete this card? Because then once you click that, then it's gone. But you know, if you, for example, if you deleted something for today's workshop, if you deleted the introduction card, what you could do, and something materials that have been sent to you, you can go ahead and click that send button, and you'll see the timeline of what you received and what was sent. And then let's say, oh, I deleted the introduction card by accident. just all you have to do is click on that in your timeline and select use, and it will once again reemerge on your workspace. So you'll still have access to materials that were sent to you, and it's not completely lost. So, but yes. So when it comes to other things that you might have done yourself, it's just a matter of, yeah, if you've received those confirmations, try not to delete things unless you're sure. But for now, like I said, I will give you guys this little assignment. I'll give you guys a few minutes, and, you know, like I said, you have your prompt here. And feel free to either make a video recording or an audio recording, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. And let us know if you have any more questions. Yeah. And let's see, yes, we might have to take the photo again and decoration of the card to redo that. That's fine. Take a few minutes, have fun with it. Like I said, make it your own and really play around with the features. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes. All right. So now we should be more or less wrapping up with that activity. And so what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you guys how to make a submission box. And how we do this will be through clicking that submit button. But as I'm in the teacher role, this will just be something that you guys can watch for now. And then I'll have you guys submit your introduction cards. So we're going to go ahead I'm going to go ahead and click that submit button. And this is where you as a teacher, once you would get a teacher account, would create a new task. And here you'd be able to give your submission a title. So let's see, for today, we're going to title our submission intro card. And so this is something that you can do in advance if you wanted to make a submission box well in advance of an assignment, or you could call for answers now, which is what I'm going to do. The default time naturally sets for 10 minutes from now. If I wanted to do for today, that naturally defaults to 10 p.m. And so depending on where you are in the world, your date might show up as October 26th. If you were to do this, let's say if you were to do this today, but obviously as I'm based in Japan and Loyola is based in Japan, it shows up as October 27th, 10 p.m. on our end. But let's see, for now, within 10 minutes, I'm just gonna put, within 5, if that, so just a few minutes. And so I will call for answers now. And this is what the submission box will look like. By now, you should be receiving a little header over your workspace of oh, a Dropbox opened up, it's time for you to submit your stuff. And how you'll want to do this is basically take that card, drag your intro card, drag it and drop it to the submit button and click the appropriate Dropbox. So I will show you how to do it myself. This is, you take this card, drag it and drop it over the submit, click intro card. And then once you get that confirmation message, you can click that submit button one more time, tap that intro card submission box. And as you can see, submissions are starting to come in. And so I'll give you guys a few minutes. Let's see, I think, oh, you have another minute left. So maybe I can increase that just a little bit. Okay. Yeah. All right. So as you guys are going through this, one more time, I'm going to show you, once you have your intro card, whoops, let me grab that here. You're going to drag, just press on this card, drag it and drop it over the submit button. Click that intro card submission box, and then it will ask you to submit your work to intro card. You press OK. And then once again, you will get that confirmation message. So like I said, I will give you guys a few more moments. We have more. Yeah, good. We have more things coming in. And as more submissions come in, these are things you can change the submission order. You can always put it depending on when it was updated, sorting in a particular key order with name displays off to make it impartial. The original submission order, and it will always confirm with you that submission names will be checked, and so on and so forth. And so as we're getting that in, I will also go ahead and show you once again, once you have that submitted, click that submit button, click that intro card submission box. And if you open your own submission box, you will only see your personal submission rather than the submissions of everybody else. So the way that I can allow you to see everyone will be to share answers with students. So now that I've selected share answers on your own student screen, you should be able to see everyone's answers. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go kind of one by one. And we'll see, oh, we have Miss Mika from Japan. She lives in Shiga and her office is in Kyoto, and she loves chocolate chip cookies. And let's see, I want to give feedback to this as a teacher. So whoops, what I'm going to do is going to touch that pencil icon. I'm going to, want that pencil, and then love it. Cool. And so what I'm going to do after this, if let's say I just wanted to get the submission in, I will send that back to her. And so now this submission within her submission box will show up as will show up with my feedback in it. So whenever she checks her feedback, obviously she'll receive a notification that I've provided her with feedback. And then whenever she checks her submission box, her submission will reflect the updated one with my feedback on it. And now here, let's see. Let's say that I want to compare a couple answers. The way that I'm going to do that, I'm going to compare student B and student number 7. So I'm going to start comparing here. And now, obviously, you see it on my screen, but let's say I were to start screen sharing. You can see it now on your student side of screens. So as you can see, from here, I would be able to touch the highlighter pointer and say, oh, look, I love mangolashi. And then also take note of like, oh, that's a really cute picture. But this is obviously in regards to this particular assignment when you're actually working on, let's say, formulas or any particular subject like a reading passage, math, sciences, and so on and so forth, English literature, you would be able to draw attention to certain things. You would be able to ping locations and compare not just 2 students, but you can compare as many students as you'd realistically like. And then once I'm done with that, I would also be able to choose which one to edit and go from here. And you can also like switch the positions, go back and forth. But for now, I will stop sharing and I will exit that. But let's say if we wanted to get back to feedback and I wanted to send feedback to multiple students, what I'm going to do is, let's say, put nice here. And yeah, we'll go back. But let's say I don't want to submit that feedback right away. I just want to get into a role. I want to get all my student feedback done. So what we're going to do is put this. And of course, with more time, I would go over the audio recordings. But for now, we'll say this and go back. Once I have as many students as I want to submit, you'll see the little pencil icon besides all the ones that I provided feedback. But let's say now is when I want to send them back. And so I will send back to as many students. And so now these students should be receiving this feedback immediately in their submission boxes. So if you guys were to check your submission boxes, you'll see that my feedback is already there for you. So, all right, and feel free to confirm, I'll give you guys a moment to do so. And then we will move on to our final reflection. And so for our final reflection, I'm going to give you guys actually about 5 minutes. And so we will see now. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, good. I think you guys should have received all of that feedback. I think we're good to go. So now we will get into this final reflection, and how I'm going to do it is I'm going to send that to your workspace once again. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to the whole class. And so once you get that onto your workspace, feel free to just go ahead and click answer. And as you're answering, like I said, feel free to take that time. And we're going to see some things. Obviously, the first question will be, what's your name? Well, how can I refer to you? The second question will be kind of, where are you based? Are you tuning in from the States? Are you tuning in from Malaysia, California, so on, New York, Boston? From here, I'd love to hear what your ideas are for using Loyola Note within your own classroom. Obviously, we were only able to go over a few brief functions, but at least I wonder if any ideas might have come to your mind already. And from here, also, if you might be interested in becoming a pilot classroom, which I'll give some more information on here in a bit, in just a few moments. And then it will just basically be the final remarks of like any questions and comments that if we don't answer them in today's live, we will be sure to get to them within a follow-up email as soon as we can. So, and as you can see, as people are answering, even while you're answering on your own screens, these graphs are changing in real time. So these are real-time summaries. but I will go ahead and give you guys a few minutes to get that in. Okay. Perfect. Good, good, good. Good to hear. Yeah, feel free to give as much detail as you possibly can with, how would you want to use Loyola Note? Any remarks, any questions, any comments, and things like that. Feel free to take your time. I'll give you guys a few minutes, like I said. You're always able to also go back to questions, and you should, well, also depending on the teacher permissions, if they allow you to kind of resubmit answers, but you should be able to realistically do so. So, oh, there we go. We got some more accounts moving forward. You're also free to just play with these graphs as much as you'd like with the real-time summary. So there you go. Nice. Okay, okay. Definitely some people within Japan, some people within Malaysia. That's great. And the States as well. Welcome, welcome. Some nice names. But yeah. So I think I will allow anyone to continue to wrap up with that. Feel free to take an extra minute. And as you do so, I will get into our final slides for today. So really, to wrap things up with some details, some more details about us. When it comes to our stats, Loyola No is widely recognized in Japan, with 40% of schools in Japan already using our app. And it is currently used in 10,000 schools all over the world by 2 million student and teacher users per day. The number of users in Hong Kong and Taiwan in particular continues to increase through word of mouth among teachers. So we've had a pretty good network in place for some time now. And it's just obviously there was a particular boom post-corona. But, I think it's a solid system that we continue to evolve as we go along. To get into fees, there is never any charge for teachers, and you're always free to try the service between teachers before involving students. And naturally, today's workshop and demo was quite a shortened and condensed version just for the sake of time. But in the future, should you like to coordinate a more in-depth demo or an in-depth workshop with us, we would be able to take a full, hour and a half or longer, or even a little bit shorter, but with more detailed function activities that we can go individually one by one. So, but when it comes to students, there is a subscription fee for students for which we're considering a new baseline of $15 per year. And for those of you that are based in Malaysia, I believe that conversion was around 68 ringgit, if I recall correctly. And really, in Japan, cities, districts, or schools cover this cost. In the case of public schools, private schools tend to include this cost in their tuition. But even if this kind of help isn't available, like I said, this is an annual fee that's quite at a moderate rate, so it should be okay. As for our trials, we have a special plan allowing for 1 year free for all schools, public and private, if they become one of our pilot schools. On a smaller scale, if your individual classroom if you might be interested in incorporating this into your specific classroom, we would be able to do a pilot classroom. So it's just a matter like a different terminology, but pilot classrooms remain the same, where you'd get that full featured service for a year. And we would walk you through how to use Loyola No within your classroom, give you different ideas, give you access to lesson plans from other teachers and how they've incorporated Loyola Notes and our different functions within their own. So we have plenty of resources available that far extend what we were able to cover today. And really, so this is our basic plan for any market. And we're always on the lookout for more pilot schools and pilot classrooms. So really, as we get into this final Q&A, we'd appreciate you keeping us in mind. And so for now, I will thank you so very much for your time, and I will open the floor to any questions so we can use the rest of our time with Q&A. So thanks so much. And just the same, you can feel free to contact us on our website or things like that. But for now, as you can see, yeah, in the chat, if you have any questions, you can contact that email, those email addresses, or check out our website links. But otherwise, feel free to just type in your questions. There we go, just motorcycles and cats running around. But feel free to just type in your questions into the chat, and I will be sure to address them as much as we can. So we have a few minutes left, so it should be okay. Let's see. Thanks for the good info. No problem. Yeah, thank you for joining. Was there any immediate questions? Did you get that whatever you deleted sorted out? Everything is okay? What age group is this for? This stems across all age groups. Let's see. So basically all grades, all subjects. This is really, so we tend to really zone in when it comes to middle schools and high schools, but that's because obviously that's where kids are often the most tactile and the most interactive, and they really like playing with tablets and using these functions that are quite, like, as we mentioned, intuitive like a game. But really, we've had elementary schools, primary schools that have used our app. So it's across the board, all ages, all subjects. No worries. Thank you so much for your question. Thank you for joining. ありがとう。ありがとうございます。Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for joining. So yeah, and just the same, for these last few minutes, if you'd also like to take some extra time playing around with our different features or playing on the app, just getting a feel for it, or anything that you might have missed as we were going along, do feel free to do so. Because aside from being informative, the app is also meant to be fun. So it should be that best balance of both worlds. And so let's see, if I were to back out of here, like I said, your own workspace should look along these lines. So you have a lot of options that you can play with. We'll probably give you guys a bit more time, even after this workshop has ended, to just, feel free to not necessarily run away with your student accounts, but just, test it out for yourselves. And if you left your email, if you had an interest in receiving more information, we will get back to you as soon as we can. And otherwise, hopefully provide you with more in-depth workshop for how to use Loyola Note School. But with that, I think we're getting down. Oh, good night from NYC. Yeah, thank you so much for joining all the way from New York. So for us, it is now almost 8 a.m. So I hope you are staying warm up there. I'm originally from Florida, so apparently to my family, it's been getting colder. So I just imagine it's even colder in NYC. Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And all right, yeah, with that, I guess that's all the time we have for today. And I will look forward to reaching out to you more. But my name, once again, is Yami Roca. And thank you so much on behalf of Loyola Note School for joining us today. And we hope to hear from you soon, or you hear from us. But thank you so much. Good night. Good morning. Take care.